Let's discuss accretion versus amortization. So amortization and accretion are both the process of bringing a bond's cost basis towards 1,000. Amortization is going from a higher number to a lower number. Accretion is going from a lower number to a higher number. So what's the reason this happens is essentially, if you think about it, the government doesn't want you to declare a loss on a let's say on a premium bond, because technically you're buying a bond, let's say for $1,200, and you only get 1,000 back at maturity, right? Which is why yield to maturity is lower for a premium bond. But since you're getting less money at the end of it, they want to make sure that you're not double dipping, because you're paying more money for a higher coupon. You don't get to also declare a loss on your taxes. That's why it comes into play. So just want to make sure that makes sense. And then if it's an accreted bond, so when it comes to taxation, there's a kind of a unique thing with accreted bonds, where if it's an original issue discount bond, so meaning you bought it from the issuer at a discount, whether it's a zero coupon bond or just a regular OID, in that case, if it's a municipal bond, that accretion is going to not be taxable. The accretion is not going to be taxable. Versus if it's a secondary market discount bond, the accretion will be taxable. The reason why is they kind of don't want you to game the system and get both benefits, where it's like, oh yeah, now the accretion is going to be non-taxable. So if it's a secondary market muni discount bond, the accretion will be taxable at ordinary income taxes, right? So amortization, the way you do it, let's say you bought a 1,200 bond, a bond for 1,200 that's a municipal bond and has like 5 years left to maturity, right? So you would just basically, the total amortization is going to be 1,200 minus 1,000, 200. Over 5 years, that means it's $40 a year. $40 a year. Let's say you sell the bond 3 years later. You adjust the cost basis of the old bond, 1,200 minus 120, right? 40 times 3 is 120. Now the new cost base is 1,080, right? So then let's say you sold it for, I don't know, 1,090, right? So what is that? You're going to have a $10 long-term capital gain. You don't have to worry about ordinary income on the amortization, because you're bringing the cost basis down, not up. So you're not making money. You're actually kind of losing money in a way, right? Now, with accretion, how does that work? You bought an OID for 800, a muni bond, original issue discount from the issuer for $800. Let's say over, let's say there's 5 years left to maturity, right? So 1,000 minus 800 is $200. $200 divided by 5 years is $40 a year, same as before, right? So $40 a year. Let's say 3 years later, you sell it for, I don't know, $960, right? 3 years later, you sell it for $960, 3 years later. So accretion per year is $40. 40 times 3 is $120. We bought it for $800 plus $120 puts us at $920. We sell it at $960. It's a $40 long-term capital gain. Since it's original issue discount bond, right? There's no the accretion's not going to be taxed. You just technically write it on your taxes, but you don't pay anything, right? Now with let's say it was a same bond, secondary market discount. Everything stays the same except for the accretion. The $120 of accretion is taxed at ordinary income. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Now, there is something called the Mayhammer that people use, where it talks about which bonds are required to be accreted and required to be amortized, which are not. So if it's an original issue discount, munis and corporates and U.S. government have to all be accreted. All of them have to be accreted, right? And this is kind of an interesting one, where the corporates are paired with the U.S. governments and the munis are kind of on their own, because the munis are tax-free. Kind of weird a little bit, because when it comes to accrued interest, it's the corporates and the munis that are paired together, and the U.S. governments are kind of the odd one out, right? Now, with a secondary market discount, for all three, it may be accreted. It may be accreted. Not required, may be accreted, right? Now, when it comes to the original issue premium and the secondary market premium, original issue premium doesn't come up that much in real life, but original issue premium versus secondary market premium bonds, for both of those, the corporate U.S. government side, it's a maybe. And with the munis, it's a must. In a munis, it's a must. So essentially, munis, everything must be accreted or amortized except for the secondary market discount. So, the OID, the original issue discount, the original issue premium, and the secondary market premium must be amortized or accreted, right? Accreted's going up, amortized is going down. The secondary market discount may be accreted. With corporate and U.S. government, the only one that's required to be accreted is the OID. Everything else is maybe. So original issue premium, secondary market discount, secondary market premium, right? So hope that makes sense. And please listen and subscribe for more information. And hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much. Bye.